owning a bunch of shooting gear and equipment is pretty cool. But to me, what's cooler is being able to store, organize, secure, and manage all of your equipment when you're not using it. So today we're going to go and do a quick overview of my ready room, or the mini armory is what I've been calling it. So that way you guys get an idea of how I store all of my stuff, to give some of you guys some inspiration how to store your stuff. We're not going to go super in depth as to what I have in each of the compartments and do like really into the drawers and everything else. But if you want to see that setup of individual parts like the lockers or the toolboxes I got around, we can do that. Just drop a comment. And as always, like and subscribe. And yeah, let's get into it. So probably the thing I get asked about the most in my setup is the lockers. These are just some used gym or school lockers that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. Hit a dude up, used to homeschool his kids. He had these for sale, so I went ahead and scooped them up for like 120 bucks. Took a lot of deep cleaning to get them all nice and cleaned up, but they pretty much do the job. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how I have most of my gear set up in here. Okay, starting with the lockers, like I said, bought these off Facebook Marketplace. Just had to clean them up real quick. I like that they use the padlock system. As you can see, the tumbler locks have been removed, so I don't have to worry about replacing those if it was breaking or jamming, or having a key to get in and out of them in case I forget the tumbler code. I just buy some padlocks, change them out as I need. If I need extra ones for my gun cases, I can pull them off of here because they're empty. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Up top, a little bit out of frame. A lot of things are going to be out of frame, but you'll be able to see things as we progress through the overview. I just stack my gun cases on top. They're the right size and length, and an appropriate height for me to just throw them up here, get them out of the way, and I can pull them off as I need to. Working from left to right, this is a 4-tiered locker system, with one being a double stack locker. So up here on the left hand side is where I store my firearms. I'm probably going to upgrade this in the future and like an actual gun safe, but for now this works out pretty slick. I just had to buy some like little magnet foam inserts that you buy from normal gun lockers. Stuck that up in there, holds both my rifles perfectly. I bought a cheap pistol magnet, stuck that to the sides, that way I can put my extra handgun here, and life is good. You may also notice that I have lights in here. I have these cheap little pucks that take double A's. They're multicolored and wireless, and they run off this remote right here, so I can change the color and turn them on and off as I need. Super helpful, buy them from Lowe's, and they add a little bit of ambiance, if you will, to the locker system. On the bottom side of this side, it's just ammo on the bottom. It's not anything super cool. I don't even have a light in there because I'm usually just grabbing my ammo cans as I come in and out of the ready room. Working over to the sticker bombs locker right here. This is where I keep my nylon. So I keep the nylon seasonal. Right now I have my summer gear in here with my summer kit and backpacks. So it's all light raincoats and maybe like one medium weight coat for the colder days, and all my extra backpacks and nylon gear that I like to use. And this is the stuff I need to get in and out of most frequently, just why it's in here. So in the winter, what I do is I've got a foot locker up and out inside a frame on another shelf, and as the winter rolls around, I pull out my winter coats, my winter gear, and I stake all of my backpacks and coats in here, so that way it's readily accessible. I have some extra command hooks on the back hand side that you can't quite see. That's where I add additional clothing as I need it, and that way I can just come and get in and out of this locker without having to dig through my foot locker. So change that up seasonally. Working over to the next one. A lot of the stuff is going to be out of frame because the camera's on a tripod, so just bear with me and we'll pan through all the stuff as we get through the overview here. But in this one, this is where I keep all of my spare rifle parts, so uppers and lowers, flashlights, all the tactical coolness that go on your rifle to Gucci it out. Up top is where I keep some comm stuff. I've got an extra headset. I've got my Garmin's up here. And then on the middle shelf, this was kind of cool. The family I bought this from already had built like this homemade tiered system in the locker, so it's just made out of wood. Didn't even have to build anything. It just came with it, which is pretty sweet. And my plate carrier rests on it, and as you can see, my belt actually wedges up into the top. And then the middle system and the bottom system, like I said, hold gun parts. So that's what's in that guy. And then the far locker that's over here, this just kind of holds extra camera gear, flight gear. This is kind of my junk drawer, if you will, of all of my stuff that I use. So I've got my backpack in here, my headset, my flight bag, and tripods on the bottom, light bars, everything that just really didn't have a home. This is kind of where it ends up being. As you can see, I didn't put any lights in there because I didn't feel like it was necessary, and I'm not usually in and out of this one a whole bunch. So yeah, that pretty much covers the locker system. Like I said, Facebook Marketplace, pretty awesome area to go buy some used stuff. This was a pretty awesome score. Had a buddy actually send it to me and said, hey, you should go pick these up, and I'm glad I did. I paid like $120 for them. It worked like a champ ever since. So now that we've covered the lockers, we're going to go ahead and start looking at other parts of the ready room. So the other piece of gear that gets a lot of attention is the tactical wall behind me that was built by hand. I went ahead and went to Lowe's and just bought a full sheet of pegboard, went ahead and cut it to certain dimensions that I had already planned out, and then I painted it this dark primer gray color. Bought like a little sample color of gray that you can buy at Lowe's for like $5 from the sample aisle, and then I got some 1x1 inch pieces of wood to space around the edge and then intentionally left a gap so that way I could run some LED wire lights behind it. As you can see, it's on blue right now. I keep the remote velcroed to my workbench so I can change the color as I feel the mood or the need to do that, or change up the ambiance, if you will. We used to hold the real rifles for a while, and it still does occasionally when dudes come over. They just need a place to put their stuff. We can throw it up here. Right now, it's actually more of just a decoration to add to the vibe. These are all airsoft guns, as you may or may not be able to tell. They're just up here to make the wall look cool, fill in the space. The only real pieces of gear I have here are my helmet that are hanging up, my chest rig, and this little ready rig thing right here. So yeah, not much function to it anymore as much as it's just decor, but it's still pretty cool. It still can function and hold a whole bunch of rifles and stuff when the dudes come over and need to wrench on their things. And it still makes it a pretty awesome little decoration piece to hang up little BB guns. So that's pretty much all that's going on here. Pretty cheap. I want to say this probably cost like maybe $60. The most expensive part was just buying the piece, the pegboard itself, and all the little attachments and accessories. Now that we've covered the wall, we're going to go ahead and move on to some of the tool storage. Okay, so for tool storage, this is one of two of Cobalt lockers that I have here for my tools. This one, what I like primarily is I kind of use it as a stand-up desk. So this drawer pops up open. I've got a power strip in here with 2 USB ports. I can plug in my laptop and just stand here and do some video editing. It makes my life pretty easy, and it's got this nice soft top here, so that way it doesn't scratch anything out. So that's what I really liked about this setup right here, and if I need to change or charge any camera equipment, I can just plug it in right here, and it just kind of keeps it out of the way of all the good stuff that's lying around. So I try to really separate those things. Ironically enough, in here, I do have a lot of hand tools in the first 4 drawers. Specifically in the first one, you might have seen on my story, this is where I keep all of my pocket knives. So it makes me feel like John Wick when I go to pick up some pocket knives. You just open up the tool drawer in the morning and you're like, oh, what am I going to carry today? So pretty fun. And I like that it locks away top and bottom with 2 separate keys. That's pretty cool. Working our way down, I actually did decide to keep my gunsmith and stuff in here because this drawer is not even a step away from the bench and from my vise and from the gun locker. So as I switch rifle parts in and out, as I'm putting things on and off the vise, switching out for my reaction rod or my vise block or whatever, what have you, I'm not spinning around in circles, which I used to do, as you'll see here as we go to the other workbench I have in here, is I would bounce from one, spin around to the other, bounce to one, spin around from the other. And I just got kind of annoyed. This flows a lot better, so I decided to move everything into this drawer right here. Working our way down to the third one, this is where I keep a lot of small hand tools, like wire strippers, vinyl side cutters, Allen keys, pry tools, other things of that nature. And then in the very bottom one here is just an array of screwdrivers and picks. So those are really kind of the main things that I use most of the time when I'm working on my firearms or whatever. Everything else underneath of here is pretty much all automotive tools, so we're not going to dive into that too much. It's mainly impact sockets and wrenches and everything else. that is what is all over here. So now we're gonna spin around, almost literally, and cover the other workbench I have off here to the side. Okay, we're here at the other workbench. This is the first one that I had purchased, and it used to hold all of my hand tools because I used to do a lot of my gunsmithing right here against the mat. Really what I use this now is just to work on smaller things that require work lighting. Like I may bring a lower receiver over here for some trigger pins or for a trigger group and stuff like that, or maybe I'm screwing around with like some of the upper receivers like the freaking springs and bars that go into your dust cover. That's kind of what I use this area for. I've got these two bins right here that are kind of like junk drawers. I just kind of throw whatever I need to in here and I get to it later. Up top here, this is where I keep most of my tape, or I keep rags and pencils and Sharpies and stuff. More of a drawing and admin area, if you will, or Sharpie admin area. And then what's also nice too is this actually has another charging strip on the side. As you can see, I've got some camera batteries running here, so I can charge stuff over here, I can charge stuff over there. The opportunities to charge things are endless because we rely on technology that much these days, I guess. Anyways, working our way down here. This actually is where I store a lot of my camera gear now. So in here, I actually got some foam from I think it was just from like some random furniture packaging that we had purchased here for the house. And I was like, this is some good foam, so I went ahead and traced out a whole bunch of templates, so that way I can store my lenses and everything in here, audio equipment. Same on the other side here, kind of gonna bounce out of frame, but this is where I keep the rest of my camera equipment. And then on the very bottom one, this is where I keep all of the charging cords, batteries, everything you can think of to charge stuff. Got my Mod Light radio charger in here, AAAs, AA's, CR123s, 2032s, all the fun electric stuff. So this is kind of what this is changed into, is more of camera and electronic stuff, and then all the hand tools and everything else is over there. Out of frame, what you can't see is I've got a small bin down here that holds a bunch of stocks and pistol grips, just a whole bunch of random AR-15 parts. The reason it's down here is because I don't have a drawer that fits into my locker system, so I'm still kind of playing around with the idea of how I can store all that equipment. Right now this works. It doesn't really bother me that much. I would kind of like everything to be in the same spot, but for now, this works. And also down here on the bottom, I've got like some TV blaster and some other lubes and a couple other things like that for just your daily wrenching, if you will. And then another like portable handheld toolbox. So that's pretty much what we have over here. We're gonna go ahead and spin around yet again and kind of finish up the odds and ends of one more shelf and the other workbench. Okay, so this is the other shelf I have in here. It mainly just holds Pelican cases, starting from the top bottom. These two right here hold my winter gear, so winter coats, winter pants, all the winter gear that you can think of. This is where all the extra gear gets stowed, and as I rotate it in and out for the seasons, it all goes into the aforementioned storage lockers off to the side here. And then working our way to the right-hand side is pretty much where I keep all my IPSCs, paper targets, cardboard backers, whatever, just tucked up out of the way. Working our way down to this next shelf here, I've got two Pelicans, smaller ones. The tan one is my testing tube kit. That one holds buffer springs, buffer weights, go-no-go gauges, a small toolkit to work on somebody's AR at the range if for some reason it's not gassed right or it's just not cycling right, and so on and so forth. So keep that here. This Pelican on the right is pretty much empty most of the time. It's a little bit of a catch-all be-all. Sometimes I'll put tools in there, sometimes I will put my camera gear in there, depending on how much I need to bring with me. So it stays empty. It doesn't really need to be full. So that's what that guy does. Working to the middle shelf here, I pretty much just have the whiteboard. Everything behind it is nothing too exciting. I used to keep the Pelicans here. I've actually put them down around. We'll talk about that later. I've got one small vault case that holds all my extra magazines, AR, and pistol mags. And it pretty much props up the whiteboard. As you can see, it's still set up from when we were out there on our rookie range day with the dudes, and it will probably stay this way because I plan to use it again, and I've actually got a smaller whiteboard up in the corner that I can use if I really need a whiteboard for anything. Working our way down out of frame right now are two larger Pelicans, and that's where I keep most of my range equipment when I go to the range. So I pull this guy out, put it on the table, pack out all the stuff I need out of my locker, Sharpies, extra stickies for targets, staple guns, magazines, whatever I can fit in there. I just haul it all in one kit to the range. And And then the one next to it is actually empty. It's more, once again, like the top one is a catch-all be-all storage locker. I put my camping gear in there when I go camping. If I need to take all the camera equipment, that also holds a lot of camera gear. And anything else that really isn't necessary. If I have overflow stuff that I'm taking to the range, I can put it in there too. And then at the very bottom, also out of frame, is a large foot locker with all my airsoft gear. So that's where my BBs and everything are at. It's really cheap. It's like one of those $15 ones you can buy from the Base Exchange. And then a whole bunch of extra empty cardboard boxes that are down here in case I decide to sell things or I need to ship stuff off to some friends. It's just easier to have some extra boxes on hand. I can just throw some stuff in and send it out the door. So that pretty much covers this shelf right here. So we're going to go ahead and cover a couple other things like my last workbench I've got here and some odds and ends as far as the decor goes for the mini ready room. Okay, so one of the last pieces that I have pretty much in the mini armory is this workbench I'm sitting at right here. This was inherited from my parents' house, actually. This was my workbench I had in their garage. It is a kitchen or bathroom vanity, and it just had this cork top to it. I went ahead and painted it, like I mentioned earlier, to match the pegboard. Kind of spice up the ambiance in here. Said that word a lot. Keep track of how many times I said ambiance in this video. That should be fun. Put it in the comments. And yeah, I've got this mat here, just to kind of protect stuff that I've got laying around. The trays on the side are pretty helpful. They're also magnetic. This is pretty much empty. It's got a couple things in it that really just don't have a home, like some airsoft batteries, some sandpaper, whatever, what have you. Really the big thing I use this for is for this vise right here. This is pretty much why this is here. At some point I am going to upgrade this to like a nice like butcher block style workbench. But as you know, money sucks, so need a little bit more of that before I can upgrade this. I've had a lot of time and work to kind of string all of these things together. So yeah, got the vise here. This is pretty much the key feature of this workbench. And like I said, the way I have this set up now, as you can see, is if I'm over here, I want to grab my rifle. So I come in here, grab my rifle, just drop it in the vise. I'm like, oh, my scope's off, whatever, I need to do something, I can just open up this guy right here. I can grab whatever tool I feel like is necessary. I guess I'm going to grab this small mallet. Probably not going to be very effective for anything I need to do, but that's because I don't have to do anything to this gun. This is just to demonstrate the ease of use of having my tools here and being able to just put my rifle in the vise, as you see, and then when I'm done, just lift it up out, back into the locker. It goes. So that pretty much covers all of the main features up here. So before we wrap things up, I'm going to go ahead and do some honorable mentions, if you will, things that kind of add to the little area as a whole. So obviously I've got an American flag that's hanging up at the entrance. It actually kind of makes a nice little false wall and curtain between the lockers and the shelf. And as you guys may or may have noticed, I've got all this camo netting everywhere. This is actually hiding the boiler that's in my garage, and then I have it stringed up on the ceiling as well to kind of add to the vibe a little bit. I've got a work light that was like 20 bucks, straight plug-in from the outlet from Home Depot, strung up above to add some extra lighting back here. And then behind me at this workbench, I've mounted a little like 24-inch TV with an Apple TV. So if I need to watch tutorials or I need to just watch something in the background, I can go ahead and throw something on the TV and watch something. So those are pretty much all of the things I can think of in here. If there's something that you want to see more of, go ahead and, like I said, drop a comment, tell me what you want to see more of, see a more in-depth video of. If there's some things you felt like I didn't explain that well, I can go ahead and give you more in-depth analysis in the comments. Go ahead and like and subscribe this video. That is the first time I've ever said that. And let me know what you think. So thank you for watching, and hope this helps you decide to build your own mini armory. That's the